in the city of angels. Dwight with Mike to the torch from his cradle. Jess from Father, spiritual and bright, guiding the vibes, bring wisdom to the night. Telling a story where hearts connect, from LA to Florida with love and respect. Telling a story with soul to soul, Dwight and Jess, yeah.
Alrighty, hello everyone. We are back. This is another episode of Tell 'em the Story with JessBeInspired and Dwight Allen O'Neal. Hello, my Jess. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm going to ask you, because you're so kind and always ask me how my week was. How has your week been?
Oh my God, so good. So I'm obsessed with a new show.
Okay.
It's called
Oh, yeah.
Chaos. Oh my God. As we're staging, everyone, we're staging, clearing the space. I have my stage again. But there's a new show. So I'm so obsessed with Greek mythology just in general.
Me too. I love that you had mentioned the show to me because I'm obsessed. So yeah.
I've finished it. I've binge watched it on Netflix. It takes Greek mythology, but it puts it in the year of 2024, so it's present time. And it's basically, we're going through the stage where the gods are beginning to feel humans shift, where some of the humans are becoming rebels and not believing in the gods anymore, and it's showing what takes place. So Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, all of these characters are put together in this world. I don't want to ruin it for you, but I am so obsessed. It was so bad where literally I watched 4 episodes. There's only 8 episodes, and I stopped. I was like, I have to go do something else because I'm not gonna have any more episodes. I'm gonna be really, really sad. I'm gonna be so sad. So I watched something else. I went and took the dog for a walk, did these other things because I was puppy sitting, and then I went back and then finished the last 4 the next day, and then it ended, and of course I was sad.
That's a lot of restraint right there, because I feel like who else can relate to even our audience and our listeners that you just are let me just stop, because if I don't stop, I'm not going to have anything to look forward to, because it's such a different feeling. I don't know, why is that, Joy, on Netflix, when you end a series and then they give you suggestions of what else you could watch because that one's ended, and you're no, none of this are the same. None of this will be the same.
And it's so funny because they did that, and I went through the list, and I'm like, no, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch that.
Yes.
Someone told me to watch American Gods. I have never seen American Gods, but I was told, my friend was like, you should go and watch that probably, because it does have various gods in it, some being Greek gods, but all different types. So I think I will check out American Gods just to get my fix, but it's such a good show. I kudos to the writers, and something's good when an expert in that field compliments it. Prime example, today we're going to talk about Power of Crystals, and let's say if it was a film about crystals that came out and you're my crystal expert, and if you were to watch it and be like, oh my God, that was so on point,
yes,
with those crystals, that speaks volumes. So people that study experts in Greek mythology have been commending the writers and the directors for the accuracy of how they've been able to bring the story to life within 2024. It's just brilliant, and I'm so here for it. I love it. So definitely check it out.
It's so interesting. Curious for you, because I got obsessed with Greek mythology when I was going to school for theater, because I majored in theater, and I know that you also have your theater, life and what you also studied in. And we had a whole class that was dedicated to Greek mythology, because that's really where theater began. And I became so obsessed that my number one place to go to in the entire world was Greece. I really wanted to go to Greece. And I started to manifest at that age, which was around, I'd say 19 or so. And very interesting. Fast forward, power of manifestation. We'll talk about also crystals to manifest with. That about last year, I was, hired to do spiritual work at this all women's gym, because the owner, who is a dear friend of mine now, was really wanting to focus on the aspect of mental health, also like connected to your physical body, which I think is so important. And now you're
So
seeing more
important.
gyms doing that and offering these additional resources and workshops and exposing, right, that aspect because it's so interconnected. And she said, listen, we are going to Greece. I'd like to hire you to
Wow.
do spiritual work in Greece. Like, I want to cry, full body chills. So I was able to, and I think I just need to even remind myself of this because I feel like this year, full transparency, has been a little bit challenging for me because I really feel like manifesting has been one of my key, like, just components to my success and really being able to have that trait and really to build that. And I think I've forgotten that. And I think I've really fallen into a lot of the struggles that this year has brought me. So just like to state that. But so as I share the story, I'm reminded that, like, yeah, I set this intention that I was going to go to Greece, but then fast forward, I ended up going to Greece doing the thing that I absolutely love, which is
That's amazing.
talking about crystals, being able to do spiritual healing work in the mountains of Mykonos and feeling the energy there was so palpable, but just beyond next level of magic. And yeah, it was just like a full coming to circle moment of like, wow, like I am in Greece. I am here where my love of theater and the arts really, began. I mean, it's maybe one of the many places, I'm not saying it's the only place, but that I really was so connected to in my studies. And then to now be there doing the thing that really is part of my purpose and calling was just amazing. So I'm
I
so
love
curious.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
Such a great story.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Greek mythology when I was probably, oh God, in elementary school.
Mm.
We did a report on it, and I just became obsessed. It might have been junior high, actually. It might have been junior high, but yeah, it was definitely junior high. With some of the subject matter, it was junior high. But ever since then, I was just. But I've always been like, I like history. Like I've always been obsessed with. Um, Maybe not the presidents per se, but their wives. Like I've always loved presidents' wives and learning about them.
Which one's your favorite?
Jackie
Curious. Which
Kennedy.
one's your really why? I don't know
Jackie
anything about anything with
She was
politics
just
or but
so
yeah.
she was so elegant, and also I thought she's also dramatic, and I can name that now that I'm an adult. Like even with like Kennedy's whole assassination, the fact that she would not change clothes and she wanted
Wait, I
the
didn't know. Wait,
world
you go back, go back. She didn't change clothes. What do you mean?
when he was assassinated in her
I don't
pink Chanel dress.
I
It
didn't know
was
this. Wait,
stained.
so tell me
Yeah,
the story about this.
so when he was assassinated in Dallas, she had on this, which they say that it was actually not real Chanel. They said it was a knockoff because Chanel did not like Jackie Kennedy and did not want her in her clothes.
What?
Yeah, like they had a beef. Like she did not Chanel
Shut up.
Coco Chanel did not like Jackie Kennedy, did not want Jackie Kennedy in her clothes, but Jackie Kennedy
Oh
was
my god.
obsessed with her fashion.
Wait, why didn't she like Jackie Kennedy?
A few people didn't like her. Yeah.
Okay, see, that's what I didn't know. Okay, okay,
So she had on, they said it was a replica,
okay.
but everyone calls it the Chanel inspired, at least, dress, the pink dress with the pink pill hat. And she was in the parade and he was assassinated and his blood was all over her dress, and she wore her dress the entire, she flew back to Washington in the dress. She wore the dress to the hospital. She refused to take the dress off because she wanted the world to see what they did to her husband. And it was just, and even like she
I like
just,
my heart just dropped. You
yeah,
sharing
and
this.
like
Like,
even at the
wow.
funeral, making baby John like step forward and salute his father, like she made him, like she was just so elegant and poised and just such like that. I don't know. I just like that one, that type of woman that's that leader of like the family that is going to, you know, say the right things and like likable but still strong. Like she just embodied that for me, and she was still held that feminine side and that beauty. And then like and later in life, I loved like her wearing her blue jeans and her rolled up oversized white button down shirts, like things like that. Like she just embodied, that. So I love Jackie Kennedy, anything about the Kennedys, I wanted to watch, wanted to study. Anything about Greek mythology, Roman Empire things, like these were things that got me medieval things, like royalty, like these were things that really excited me growing up. And yeah.
It's interesting because I will say what fascinates me is looking at the crystals and certain elements of, our historical energy connected to them. Like, for example, it was Henry the Eighth, like one of like his wives, like when he passed, like wore smoky quartz in like a crown to
Hmm.
honor his grieving. A lot of like, like Cleopatra, like lapis lazuli was a
Yeah.
crystal that they were, renowned for
I like
wearing.
Cleopatra too, and Julius Caesar.
Yes, and also like rose quartz is in a lot of the ancient tombs because it's said that rose quartz helps to preserve beauty. That's why we see actually in a lot of beauty products or even the gua shas and the different facial rollers how like rose quartz is said to help with
Hmm.
inflammation. So that part of crystals and that connection always really fascinates me to know like what crystals these beautiful like, goddesses were wearing at that time
Yeah.
to really represent. Yeah.
Curiosity. Who was your favorite goddess or god? Did you have a favorite?
For in Greek.
Yeah, Greek mythology.
So Greek, Athena is my
Oh, I
favorite.
love it.
Yeah, Athena, connected to the owl, connected to wisdom, and I really just feel like I can relate to her energy of being able to really be the voice of guidance, the voice of insight, especially in war and conflict. I really can identify with that. I think that takes a really strong energy to be able to hold that space and to provide that guidance. And so, and the connection to the owl, because the owls really represent, going towards the light, even in our most challenging times, and really thinking about the wisdom that we know within ourselves. So I just feel like her energy was just super intuitive for yeah, that I can. I actually have an Athena notebook. Like I love Athena. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. Athena
yeah.
is awesome. I have an Athena oil that
I
that I
yeah.
purchased before. That's really nice. It's very
One of
very.
my one of my clients actually gifted me the Athena coin from Greece, like as a gift.
Ooh,
Yeah, like it's really special.
that's amazing. My
Yeah.
favorite is Artemis.
And why, if you don't mind
So
me asking?
Artemis, the goddess of hunt, wild nature, and chastity.
Mhm.
I feel like Artemis is. I was gonna say very lesbian energy, but but no, she's also like the goddess of moon, childbirth, vegetation. But
Wait, why are we going lesbian energy? We can't just skip over that.
she's a goddess of hunt, okay? Like hunt and wild nature
I can't.
and
I
chastity.
Why are we also though skipping over Dionysus, who was like, the god of like, right, like of celebration and wine?
So
Why did we just
Dionysus is in.
yeah?
He's in
Oh God,
chaos.
does he have got great parties? That's my question.
Yes, like it opens up with him like in a party making out with men and women.
Oh my God, I love that.
Like
That
just
feels
so sexually fluid. Yeah, he's in it as well. But yeah,
oh,
Artemis was the virgin. I don't know, just always I thought she was just so pure and just yeah, I really just liked Artemis.
I can't tell. The lesbian energy. That will stick with me. That will stick with me. Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
But also shouts out to Jeff Goldblum. He
oh, is
plays
he in
Zeus.
it?
Yes.
Oh, I love him. I was just
He
saying,
plays Zeus. He's like 6'4".
let me just say that it's so funny that you're bringing him up because I just watched Jurassic Park for the first time. I know it sounds crazy. No, there's a lot of that needs to be a different podcast of all the different classical movies that I have not watched that like pretty much the majority of
I forgot we
everybody
were
who's a
filming a
human being.
podcast, actually. I'm just
Yeah,
so casually in this talk. I'm like,
yeah,
oh
I
wait,
know.
we're
Yeah, yeah. So, but and I was just saying, I was like, he's really good looking. And then my mom's like, oh, you
you
should
should tell me
see
he's younger.
yeah. And so then my mom's like, you should see he's even aged so great. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah. She's like, he's still hot. I was like,
He
okay.
plays Zeus, and like I was him and the actor that played Poseidon. I was just like, oh my God. And Poseidon was played by, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what's his name? Oh God, I can't think of it right now. Cliff Curtis. Yeah, Cliff
Cliff
Curtis.
Curtis. Okay.
Yeah, it was just, and my friend was like, really, Poseidon? He's like a greasy old man. And I'm like, it's like that sexy, like Italian, like
Yes.
in the mafia kind of
Oh,
vibe.
don't get me started. I literally love Italian men. Don't get
Like
me started. Yeah.
kind of that vibe, but then also like this Middle Eastern vibe as well, like swirl going on. And oh, a Persian man, Jesus.
Oh, there we go. I
Mm.
think we should leave it there. Should we leave it there
Yes,
and go to
yes.
commercial?
You're going to commercial. That's right. We'll be right back.
Greetings, inspired community. It's Jess with Just Be Inspired. If you're looking to bring balance and positivity into your life, I'm here to support you. Through my Reiki sessions and handpicked selected of healing crystals, I will help to guide and align your mind, body, chakras, and spirit. Whether you're new to energy work or have been on this journey of healing for a while, I have the tools to help you feel centered and empowered. Visit JessBeInspired.com or follow me at JessBeInspired, and let's heal together. I can't wait to help you stay inspired.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Let's get started. Yeah.
Yes, I'm excited too. I'm happy to hear that you're excited because you know what we're about to do.
I do. Oh no, that's right. First.
And you're excited. Yay! It's
Because
my favorite part of our show. It's called Name That Story.
I feel like I just wonder if like low key my facial expression every time is like just what you look forward to in this whole segment.
We should do a montage of your faces.
And if anybody could not, like, perhaps you're just listening on audio, my face every time is like sheer angst of like not being able to guess the story. So yeah, go for it. Mm-hmm.
All right, so I made this one easy for you.
Oh, thank God. Okay, let's go.
And wait.
Watch, you're gonna say that. You're gonna say that, and then it's gonna be not the one that I haven't gotten. Okay. So far, I'm like, you know, going strong, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right. Well, it's set in the 1900s.
Okay. Already not a time that I'm familiar with, but continue. Okay.
There's a love story that unfolds between two people from two different social classes. Okay. One, a wealthy young woman. The other person, a poor artist.
Okay.
All right. The words unsinkable were used to describe this particular movie.
Okay.
Our story. It's also a story. It features a memorable scene of an incredible jeweled necklace.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
There's a pivotal moment in this film version of where the iconic line is said, "I'm the king of the world."
Yes. Yes, he is. Yes. Yes.
Directed by James Cameron, it became one of the highest grossing films of all time and won multiple Academy Awards. Name that story.
Don't laugh at me right now because I'm gonna cry. I'm also like totally like, you know, for all of the divine souls out there on my moon. So I'm just getting emotional. I'm like, Titanic. Like, you just walked me through that entire movie. And of course you brought up Leo, and I needed that. I really needed that reminder. But no, I mean, I went and I saw that movie 14 times in the movie theater. 14 times. Because I really was going through it. Like, I had just moved from New York, a small town, to Florida. I just really was having a very hard time, and that movie was like my therapy. Like, my mom just would drop me off. I think after like the
50 hours.
Yeah. My mom after the second or
that
third.
was a work week.
after
overtime.
after the second or third time, my mom was just dropping me off and just I think being like, you know what, like this is her thing. And I couldn't get enough. 14 times. I literally can remember that. I mean, obviously, I clearly was going through something that therapy maybe should have been a better
Or
option,
Leo.
or Leo. But yeah, I mean, so like literally, like when you were describing it, I'm like, that movie holds so much weight for me of just getting me through a really hard time. And I think that that's what's so interesting about movies in general. I heard an amazing quote that was like, theater asks questions and movies help answer, like provide answers. And I thought that that was
I
such a
love
really
that.
great way to look at it. So, and that time I feel like it was giving me a lot of answers into like the direction of like to keep going in my dreams, no matter where I was.
I love that. I love that. Well, I chose it because of the actual jewel that she's wearing.
Yes, the
The
sapphire.
crystals. Yeah. So
Yeah,
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 that's why I actually chose it. I thought it would be very appropriate with today's topic about the power of crystals. So I
yes.
think it's a great transition as well as we continue. But 50 hours?
I know, I
That's a
know.
lot.
I know. I
They
know.
owe you,
It's really bad.
they owe you a check. You're the reason the movie grossed was the highest grossing film of all time. Right here. You're the reason this is the highest grossing film of all time.
I should host a Titanic themed party where we can like
Oh my
watch
God.
Titanic
Good.
and like do like games and stuff.
I'll
Yeah, that would
come
actually
two and
be
a
really
half
amazing.
hours in.
Yeah,
And
I
I'll still
really
be there
should.
another 2 hours.
God, and by the way, I just totally exposed myself of like this is the crazy person that's behind the podcast. Yeah.
I mean, remember our episode where I literally talked about the guy that I literally would get off the train and say,
Yes,
"Hey,
true,
did you
true.
call me?" So we both are exposed as a little cuckoo. Okay.
Before we met each other, pre-Jess, pre-Dwight,
Yes,
you
yes.
know?
Yeah, it was way before. Oh
We've
God.
gotten it together now. We've gotten it together, or at least we're trying to appear that way.
Hey, we have. At least we're not walking
Yeah,
around with toilet paper hanging out of our pants.
that's so true. So
If
true.
you have not heard that episode, that's our first episode. Go back and listen, guys. But yeah,
Yes, yes,
all right. So let's dive right in because I have some
yeah,
questions about crystals.
yeah.
Actually, for my birthday this year, a friend gave me some bags of crystals, some little baggies
Mm,
as a gift.
I love it.
And so I would love to ask you what they do. I have amethyst here, and then I
Okay,
also have, I think this one is citrine. Can you
okay.
see it?
Yes, citrine. Yep.
Yes. So amethyst is actually one of my favorite stones. But
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I never seem to find it like in jewelry I like until recently. I did buy a ring, and it's featured in Just 1 Minute this past season.
Oh,
I found the
nice.
amethyst ring that Mr. Thick gifts me that I think is
Ooh.
stunning. But yeah, I would love for you to chat with us about what these stones do,
Yeah.
how to use them properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first off, you having a whole bag of crystals, and I think anybody out there, like, have we all been perhaps victim, myself included, of walking around with like a whole bag of like crystals? Like, who's right? So I
My
don't
sister keeps them in
actually.
her boobs.
So fantastic. So we'll talk about that right after this. So one thing I will say is that it's actually important to harmonize the stones. So if you have like more than like 7 different crystals like on you, my actual like teacher said like 3 to 5, like you could actually start to feel a little crazy because crystals are like vitamins. So it's like, which ones do I really want today? Like, what energy do I need? So you could be walking around with a bag of crystals. Like, one is like an upper where it's like meant to make you feel good and like ascend. And then you have one that's grounding and protecting. And then you have one that's like for soothing. You have one that's like to express yourself. So you could actually start to feel all over the place. So knowing to just like kind of balance and really intentionally set the crystal's energy and what I like to call program them is fantastic.
So
So
you
yeah,
can actually like OD on crystals.
yes. Yes, you can totally overdose on crystals. The other thing too is that, have you ever noticed that like a certain crystal that will just like call to you, and then there's other crystals where that you've maybe even purchased them because you've read like the meaning at a crystal shop, or maybe purchase it on JessBeInspired, and you're like, hey, like, oh, that seems, and then you get it and you're like, I don't think I really am jiving with this energy right now. Have you
Yeah.
ever had that? Yeah.
Oh,
So that's,
absolutely. Yeah.
yes. So that's also a really important indication, is to know that crystals will really like work with you when you are ready to work with them. So just because something, you might kind of research or think, oh, yes, this is exactly what I need, you may actually receive that crystal and then, or buy it, purchase it, and not connect with it. And that doesn't mean it's not for you. It just means it's not meant to work with you right now. So the fact that you're always attracted to amethyst tells me a little bit of something about you. I do crystal readings as well. So if you're constantly attracted to amethyst, is that a stone that you're pretty much drawn to, would you say?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm drawn to that one, and I want to be drawn to rose quartz, but I'm always like
You're not there yet.
over there.
You're
I
not there.
force myself to like engage with rose quartz, but I'm always like,
I can't believe that you're saying I forced myself to engage with rose quartz. So this is telling me something super interesting. So talking about amethyst, that tells me that might be you have a very high energy to you. You also have a very high energy job. You were in the limelight. You were in that mode, right? And so amethyst helps to calm your nervous system. It's known as the soul stone. So it's constantly helping you to embrace your soul and helping you to trust in your visions, because it activates the third eye and the crown chakra, which is your connection to clarity in the crown and feeling less overwhelmed. And then the third eye always being in the vision, always being in the expansion of that. So you being in the space where you're like constantly attracted to amethyst is telling me that you are on a deep soul journey with yourself and that you're wanting that support.
okay.
Now, Tom, does that resonate at all?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because the calming aspect definitely makes so much sense.
It's the most soothing crystal. That's why so many people use it for sleep. They place it around their bed because it's so potent for that as well. And also, they used to call it the drunkard's crystal, like back in the day, like the Renaissance vibes, because it does actually help with addictions. And it's not even like just substance addictions. It could be addictions of any kind, addictions to working too much, addictions to inner dialogue that's not kind to you, whatever that looks like. But it really does help you to let go of that energy as well.
Okay.
And it creates a spiritual force field of protection around you. So you're constantly walking around, if you're using amethyst, like protected.
I love that. Okay, makes
Mhm.
sense. I should
Yeah.
put this back in my car.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. And the fact that you're not attracted to rose quartz. Okay, so let me just say this. Rose quartz, yes, it's about love, but it's really not about attracting love. This is where people, I think, kind of misinterpret rose quartz. It's really about self-love.
Yes, it's self-love.
So
Because
it's
if you
so
love yourself,
interesting.
you will attract others. But I'm always like,
Yes.
I don't know. Just I think it's pretty, but like I never just feel connected. I do have a necklace I recently bought that's really nice, but I haven't worn it in a while.
See, I always have my rose quartz ring on. For anybody that's like not just listening, I always have this huge rose quartz ring typically, because it's always a reminder to love myself. And I also have it on my middle finger, which I think is really fun too.
Okay. So what's this citrine do? What is citrine?
So citrine is fantastic for manifesting loves, especially around abundance and finances. So you can actually place citrine in your wallet. That is a great way for you to start to increase your flow of money. It's really the stone of manifestation, but also with joy. It activates the solar plexus chakra, which is how you feel about yourself. That is your connection to yourself. And it is so great for anybody who's an empath, because if you take on a lot of people's energy as an empath, it will help you to decipher what is their energy and what is your energy, so you don't get confused. So citrine is like, seriously, like just the stone of manifestation, but very, very good for joy, for depression, for bringing in just positivity overall. Yeah.
I love that. And I can smudge them, right?
Yeah. So a way that you're doing right now, so a way that you can cleanse your crystals is by exactly using sage. You can just take the sage, wave it around the crystal, or wave the crystal around the stage just to have the smoke, and that will automatically help you. I'm grabbing something beneath me that will automatically help to cleanse the crystal. Another thing that you can do is you can take selenite. I just busted this out. This like huge selenite one.
That's huge.
So this is actually, you can just place your crystals. This is really good for anybody out there who might be lazy, where you can just like literally place your crystals in front of this crystal. It never needs to be cleansed. It's always purifying. This is one of my top favorite crystals because it helps to cleanse an overactive mind. So I sleep with this crystal every single night because I'm always going to bed with like a to-do list that's like crazy. I think that anybody who's an entrepreneur can relate to that. If you're like your own marketer, your own this, so like it helps you to kind of like cleanse a lot of that. And so you're not taking it with you.
It looks like it could be a great weapon as well.
Yes, any crystal is protective because you can throw it at somebody as well.
I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
so the next one I have is avertrine.
Oh, any crystal that's green is going to be good for prosperity. So now aventurine in general is the stone of opportunity. So it's going to help you to create new opportunities to bring in more prosperity. It's also really good for growth and renewal of the heart. Anything that's pink or green is going to be good for heart chakra healing.
I love it. So my friend really was looking out for me. So I'm going to keep these in my wallet.
I would keep the citrine for sure in your wallet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a good combination that you got going on there. You have like 2 for prosperity and abundance and renewal of the heart. Then you have like calming, soothing energy. And then you have joyful energy. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
I know when we were planning out this show, I was like, I want to know your favorites. And you're like,
yeah,
you're an addict.
I'm a crystal. So I'll totally go into my favorites for sure and why they're my favorites. And also just like really great tips. How about this? How about good tips that you can just like know to like help to raise the vibrations of the power of crystals?
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. Some things you can do. Okay. All right. So I guess we'll see when we get back from commercial. All right.
Are you missing the wit and charm of Sex and the City? Well, get ready for a fresh twist with Just 1 Minute, the micro series on TikTok that's serving up all the drama, love, and laughs you crave. Join me, Dwight Allen O'Neal, as I navigate life, love, and everything in between, 1 minute at a time. It's just like Sex and the City, but quicker, edgier, and made for TikTok. Follow O'Neal Appeal and indulge in the new series everyone's talking about, Just 1 Minute, because who says you need an hour to tell a great story?
Alrighty, we are back, and Jess is going to share with us some of her favorites, and she's going to give us some tips on how to raise the vibrations, and I guess how to properly use them, because I feel like, you know, in the beginning when I first got into crystals, I was buying them and immediately putting them on and just going. I wasn't cleansing them. I wasn't programming them. I was just out here in this world, just with crystals on me.
How did it feel? How did it feel doing that? Did it still feel good?
Yeah, it did. It didn't feel bad.
No, I feel like sometimes when we know more information, it can almost like get us more in our head. That like for me, when I didn't know as much as I do about crystals now, it was kind of like just this refreshing, like joyful energy, like this child innocence of just being like, oh, this is so pretty. And I don't know, but it's my magical rock. You know what I mean? It's my magical, which some people get very offended if you say rocks, but it's like, yes, rocks, stones, crystals. Yeah. But it feels kind of like magical. So please take what I say, but also just magically connect to the crystals. Be your own spiritual Google here, you know? But yeah, I think that but once you can start to work with them, if you become obsessed like myself, and then you also end up owning a crystal shop, forget about it. It's like a whole different vibration. But a good way of what you're saying is you would wear them, correct?
Yeah.
So for anybody out there, I call this the crystal vogue. Okay. So if the crystal is within arm's reach away from you, vogue, 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 you're actually receiving its energy at a higher frequency. So that's why wearing your crystals, placing them in your bra, right, or your pocket is a actually more effective way to utilize them.
So you're saying do put them on you?
Put them on you if you can. Now, of course, I have a 1,000-pound amethyst rock that I inherited from my dad and his ascension. I can't put that on me, but it's so funny because it's shaped like a table. So it used to be our dining room table, and I decided to not cover it. So I just lay on top of it like a crazy person. But, you know, am I crazy or am I receiving the energy? I'd like to think the second of the two, you know?
All right, so this is,
Go for it.
I mean, it's an adult show. So I've gone to a crystal shop and I've
Okay.
seen a rose quartz
Yep.
shaped like a penis.
Yep.
Is that for self-love?
That is for self-love and really calling it in. And also too, like, so funny. We actually like, oh my God, we're going here. We're going here. So I do these crystal live sales. Definitely follow me at JessBeInspired if you want to like know more about crystals on Instagram and join our crystal lives. I talk a lot about these crystals on these live sales. And I got these yoni eggs, which I was like, are they going to sell? Because they're crystals that you insert into
Yeah.
your, and like literally they sold out and I was so nervous, but like they're really effective and they're great. And I got my own set for rose quartz and you gotta work your way up and it's
I need a butt
backwards.
plug.
It's and it's a little bit opposite with I was like, oh, this is so interesting, but it actually works the opposite where it's easier to go big than go small. It's like supposed to help to exercise the Kegels. Yeah, this is a vibe.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, I love it.
And real talk, the first person who bought them was like this more mature woman. And I was like,
course.
I thought that they were going to be completely offended. And no, they were like, yeah, let's bring it on. So yeah, yoni eggs, get into it. It's a vibe.
Oh my gosh. You heard it here, guys. Yoni eggs. Do they come in what
So
kind
they
of
come in a set. They come in a set, and it's like it's big, medium, and small. And you
Okay,
actually
but
want
is
to
it
work
like
your way to small.
what is it? Rose quartz? Is
All
it
different
onyx?
ones. Rose quartz. You could do tiger's eye. There's black onyx, but I went with rose quartz because I felt like I want to love myself in that
Yeah,
vibe. You
why
know what I
not?
mean? Right.
wanna
But some people
I
maybe
wanna
they
love
want to protect. Maybe they want to protect, so they go with like a little bit more
Yeah.
like onyx, like or obsidian, where it's like I want grounding and protection in this area. I don't want anybody coming in.
That's a very good point. I love it. Oh my god, this is so exciting. I'm way too excited about this. Okay, so what
Real
are some
talk.
ways that
Really talk. Wait, just to say this. One of our friends, we gifted it to them, and they hung it up in their car as like a car hanger because they didn't know what
they
to
didn't know
do.
that it was a young Perfect. Tell them the story. I want the story told to them. Like I want to know, do they know now? Like, did they
Yes.
know? Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
that's the story I need to hear. I need to meet this person, and I want to know, like, what were the thoughts that went through your mind when you finally realized what was hanging
I
in your
can't.
mirror in your car?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so how do we raise the vibrations though of our
Yeah.
show?
So one thing you want to do is you always want to cleanse the crystal. So like we said earlier, like with sage, you can also use selenite. Another thing is to like place them underneath the full moon
Use soap and
energy.
water.
Yes. However, good question. You do not want to utilize water for any crystals that especially end in ite because it can ruin it. So like selenite, celestite. So anything that typically ends in ite is going to damage the crystal. So it's
Oh my
important
gosh.
to research that first. And I didn't know that. And I was placing my selenite heart in like this like water that I had created from the sea that was during the full moon and wanting to energize it. And it was just ruining the crystal. Mm-hmm.
If you run a crystal, are you able to recharge and bring it back?
I mean, yes, but it's kind of like, especially with certain material, it's like pretty much broken at that point. It's like,
Okay.
yeah. So
Well, how do you know if your crystal's real or not? Because I know there are some people out there that
oh,
are like
well,
fake crystals.
that's a great, well, there's a lot of fake crystals because crystals have become so popular. A couple ones that like are just like out, like just to know that you can always like pretty much like there's a lot of fakes is for sure malachite. and moldavite. Those two are like, there's so many fakes out there. So you want to obviously use a reliable source. One thing though to note is that a crystal that you really just like, a crystal should never have bubbles in it. If it has bubbles in it, it's glass. Because
bubbles in it.
Yep, if it has bubbles in it, it's typically glass. The other thing is, and I don't have it here, but even just, go with me on for the people that are out there. If you have like a point, right? Like if you have a tower, the tower should always have 6 sides. So if it has a difference of like these 6 different, if it doesn't have like 6 facets, it's probably a fake crystal and it's a manufactured quartz. Which I will say this, fake crystals are becoming though popular and people are collecting them and still putting a lot of energy. Like I am so disappointed. I have a crystal that's a fake that I actually got from my crystal teacher. But the thing is it's so pretty that I still put energy in it, but I know it's a fake, so it's really important. Yeah.
Okay. So good to know, guys, that the bubble tip is very, very clear, are very helpful. Okay.
Another way to raise the vibration is you can actually just blow on the crystal. I don't know, but like just breathe air and just imagine that it's like purifying. If you have, for example, people that come up and touch your jewelry, let's just say that like that happened to me a lot also when I was working in the corporate world in beauty. And sometimes I don't want other people's energy on my crystals.
Well, I was going to say that. Should you touch someone else's crystals?
A lot of people don't know that, especially if you're not into like the crystal, like healing, like world, you may not know crystal ethics. And also being a crystal shop, I didn't want people to feel intimidated by that. So I would just just take the crystal in my hand or like just take the ring or the bracelet and just like take a nice little blow and like just cleanse it really quickly and then reset the intention of what I wanted the crystal to bring. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's important.
Because people will always typically I wear mine like tucked in, like because people always want to like grab it and they're like, oh, this is so pretty, and I am like, why are you touching me?
Exactly.
I don't want your energy on me, and especially like we both worked in retail, so and people, they don't mean any harm, they really just think it's beautiful,
right?
Oftentimes you take that energy on, and and I mean it's defeating the purpose of my crystal.
Well, one thing that you'll also appreciate too, another way that you can really utilize your crystals is during holidays. So for example, let's just say that you have people coming over for like, Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas or whatever you celebrate, right? You can strategically place crystals in front of people that may need that energy. So maybe you have like, a family member that, drinks a little too much and gets a little like, maybe you place some amethyst in front of them.
Amethyst glass.
Maybe you have a crystal or you have a person in your family that likes to gossip and talk a lot and you're like, oh my God, where is this going? That's where like a black tourmaline would be really good because it acts like a boomerang, taking any negativity and placing it back on them, but helps to ground their energy as well. So, or you might want to actually have the black tourmaline in front of you, vice versa. So that's kind of a great way to like utilize or maybe it could be even a little nicer where you're like, oh wow, this person really needs to like love themselves and I want them to feel that energy, and you place a rose quartz there.
I love that strategically placing. You can use that at work too, I'm sure.
100%.
Oh my gosh, you can so use that at work to like
right.
I wish I knew this back when I was working like in the field for sales. Like I could wear a certain stone to like help with my sales for the day. Or
oh my God, there were certain crystals that I would have to wear that I was just like, no. Like we'd go into certain accounts like, no, this is the vibration that I need to bring there, because otherwise, like, not happening. No.
Oh, this is so helpful, Jess. Like seriously.
Yeah. It's
not too late. Or even if you work in the office, imagine like that gossiper that drains you. Like just put a crystal at their desk. Gift
black tourmaline, really good for that, for yourself
black
to wear.
Say, oh, I got you a little gift, little holiday gift.
Oh yeah, that's the best part about this is that you can give somebody that, and I've done this, and I'm, I love everybody, but I've done this where I'm like, oh my God, I can't take this anymore. I'm gonna give them this crystal, and it's like it's coming from it's sometimes a selfish, intentional place, but I know that's also like beneficial perhaps for that person. But yeah.
It's helpful for the world.
It's helpful for the world. That's the thing. It's like, and I think that that's where like, again, crystals, like you're seeing them become so much more popular. And even if you don't believe in any of their metaphysical properties, it's like they're absolutely gorgeous and stunning to look at, and they're becoming more and more rare. So they're gonna only go up in value. It's really like something that's not gonna depreciate. Like even me as a crystal shop, buying crystals at like a different cost, because I am a crystal shop, it's gone like way up from even when I started to really get into it like 4 years ago. I've been a crystal shop for 4 years. I mean, I've been utilizing crystals and I have sold them, but like they're not like Beanie Babies where they're not going to depreciate in value. Okay, they're only going
Oh
to go
my
up
God.
in value.
Remember Beanie Babies?
I do. And so like every time, and that's also maybe the rationale that I tell myself, is that every time I buy a crystal, I'm like, it's only going to go up in value. But it's true. It really is. Like the crystals that I have now, like what they were worth, like seriously, like even like what my, like that huge amethyst piece, what they're worth now, it's so much more like high. It really is.
Okay, so not counting your shop,
Yes.
how many crystals do you own? Like for you personally?
I don't even, I'm over 100 for sure. I mean, like, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even, I would lose count. I would lose count.
Wow.
100 is being like, I mean, between the jewelry, between the, just even on my wall right now behind me, I can at least count probably at least more than 20 just behind me on the wall that we're doing this podcast on.
Oh
And
my
I have a bowl of probably 10 in front of me, and then I have like 5 to 10 to the side of me right now.
Okay. How often should you clean your crystals? Like the ones that are in your house? Because like I have them strategically placed in my place, my apartment. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't clean them as much as I clean the ones that I wear out.
I personally believe you intuitively kind of know. I do like a nice saging for my house, like literally whenever it just feels like it. Whenever the energy feels heavy and I feel like I need a reset, that's when I sage. And sage will do a complete reset where it helps to cleanse. I talked about this in the first episode, the negative and the positive, right? Like it just is a reset. Whereas Palo Santo cleanses the negative, but keeps the positive. So that is just key to know. It's like whenever you're feeling like you need a shift of energy, that's when I say to cleanse. And for yourself, like with wearing them, funny enough, but if they're hot to the touch, that actually is an indication that they probably perhaps need to be cleansed. If they are a little bit more cool to the touch, that means that they're still pretty cool to work with, if you will. Yeah.
Nice. This is so insightful. So if it's hot to the touch, clean it. If it's cool to the touch, you're good to go.
Yeah. Little good indication there.
All right. Well, Jess, I definitely want to revisit this again because I think there's so much more we could talk about with crystals in general. Like,
oh yeah, it would be so much fun to like think about crystals and like I don't even know, like to make fun with it too, because it's like there's a whole vibe for sure.
Well, I want a crystal movie now because we were talking about like an expert at feel. Like imagine like a movie where like the rose quartz was a person and like they had like the personality traits of like, yeah, that could be a cute little.
I think that you've come up with your another screenplay. I feel like you just came up with it.
The Power of Crystal.
The Power of Crystals.
Yeah, I'd want it to be animated for the kids. Yeah.
I want it to be, that would be so freaking cute. You know what's really interesting? And I know that we, are wrapping things up, but I'll say this. It's so funny. I got, like low key, and I love this person I do, but I was doing a wellness festival. I was actually like a vendor for as the crystal shop. Usually like I get hired for like doing Reiki and all that, but this was like I was focusing on crystals, and I was so upset because they placed me in front of the kids zone area, and I already like, listen, I like kids, but I'm like, no. So kids are always attracted to crystals. They're always attracted to crystals. I mean, we grew up with, so all these kids were coming over and taking these crystals and like putting it in their mouth or like picking them up. And I was like trying to be really cool and like being like, hey, I'm JessBeInspired, the Reiki master. And internally, I was like, get that out of your mouth. And like wanting to like look at the parent, like, how could you let your child do that?
No.
And like they were picking them up. And I was like, I have to cleanse all these. I was so upset. And I said to them, I was like, listen, next year, don't have me placed around the kids. Okay.
Yes.
Don't have, and it was so sad because the month earlier I was placed in front of the gym with all of these hot men working out in front of me. Then the next month I had kids, and I'm like, what happened? You had me in front of a gym.
You meet hot men and you end up with kids. There you go.
That's the story. That's the story.
Well, Jess, I love you so much, my
I love
love.
you too.
And we love you all for listening. So be sure to go and check out Jess's store because
Thank you,
she has
loves.
a crystal shop. So definitely go and support and get yourself some crystals. And I'm gonna be, if you find a butt plug out there, let me know.
I totally already have. So it's I got you.
Yeah,
I got
like
you.
I'm gonna sleep with it. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Bye.